Well, folks, I am wearing a red shirt because we've done it. The 47th president of the United States is Donald J. Trump, and this would be the first time in 127 years we've had a president win two non-consecutive terms. And he's about to make crypto and XRP holders rich, as even Brad Garlinghouse took to X to say, to everyone who doubted it, the crypto voter is here to stay, loud and clear. Truly amazing to see crypto champions like all of these four names get the W with this election. And although many people in the country are angry about the outcome, and some will likely even take a mental health day or two off, this is a major win for markets and crypto. And it's hard to deny that a Trump victory will not be a net positive for crypto markets when just on the odds alone earlier today in voting caused crypto markets to rally, and Bitcoin even put in a new all-time high up to $75,300 for an 8.6% gain just on the day. It also helps that we can now be certain Gary Gensler is out of a job, probably changing his underwear right now. And Tim Scott, another pro-crypto senator, will likely replace Elizabeth Warren as head of the Senate Banking Committee. Now, this will likely be the last of any political videos I make for a while. I'm sure all of us are tired of seeing political ads on our timelines every 5 seconds and just want to move on. However, the Trump win was a huge victory, as now he is not only the most pro-crypto president, but he's also pro-economy and pro-USA economic dominance. So in this video, I'll share how Trump is going to pump your crypto bags and boost the economy. I'll do my best to keep things brief, to the point, share the facts about what we know so far, and then the price action as well on cryptos, so you can feel good about what's coming through the end of the year and prepare for it. And as always, before we begin the video, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, be sure to smash the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul if you're new here. And I want to start the video out with just a bit of humor. Now, to be fair, I don't always agree with foul language or the approach of some people who really despise someone like Kamala Harris, but at the end of the day, this stuff is pretty funny considering she is a cackling queen, and Donald Trump, obviously, although he's not a nice person, is far better as a strong leader from an economic standpoint, from a world stage standpoint, and ultimately I do believe other countries and leaders are going to fear him, which I think is going to play a role in his economic policies and how he actually drives growth and builds the middle class in the United States. So that said, here's a post from Miles Dutcher. At one point, he was basically stating that Biden now has the exact same odds of winning the election as Kamala Harris does, which is actually pretty laughable, considering both of them have now officially dropped out because Donald Trump is the president. And now this one is actually kind of funny. Andrew Tate, I don't always agree with the guy, nor do I care. It is kind of funny. He basically said this: Tim Walz, a random who nobody liked, can now disappear back to whatever gay bar they found him in. Kamala will stop laughing at air. Pedo would, otherwise Hollywood, will realize nobody cares what they think, and I couldn't agree more. White dudes for Kamala will cry in their wives' boyfriends' arms. Nature is healing. Now, what's really interesting is that the betting markets seem to get the call right far before all of these media outlets like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, so on and so forth. Kalshi had Donald Trump winning at a 97%, again, well before they called the election. And Polymarket was well at 97 to 99% hours before the call was even made on Fox. Now, at one point earlier in the evening, Fox News was the very first to call it, that Donald Trump would be the next president of the United States, and they had him winning. And so many major news outlets were actually saying they're calling it early. However, at that moment in time, Donald Trump had one path to victory. He just needed to win one state, whereas Kamala Harris needed 5 paths to victory. And at that moment in time, she needed to win 5 states in a row. It was virtually impossible for her to win. Not only that, but Donald Trump has won the popular vote. Many people believed Kamala Harris would win the popular vote. However, it is completely unanimous. When you look to the Wall Street Journal, Donald Trump is the winner. When you look to CNN, Donald Trump is the winner. When you look to MSNBC, Donald Trump is the winner. AP, Donald Trump. Reuters, Donald Trump. And a lot of these media outlets hate Donald Trump. They put out nothing but hit piece after hit piece after hit piece on him. At the end of the day, the American voters spoke, and as Brad Garlinghouse said, crypto voters spoke. Here is the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, sharing that he wants to welcome the new members of America's most pro-crypto Congress ever. 219 pro-crypto candidates and counting have now been elected to the House and Senate. Tonight, the crypto voter has spoken decisively across party lines and in key races across the country. Americans disproportionately care about crypto and want clear rules of the road for digital assets. We look forward to working with the new Congress to deliver it. This is going to be an amazing 4 years if you are a crypto investor. And what makes this truly exciting is that it's not just the presidential seat, it's also the Senate. The Republicans and pro-crypto Congress members now have the Senate, which means they're going to work unanimously to push bills through and ultimately get them signed by the most pro-crypto president in history to make sure our bags pump. And as of recording this video, the House is also up for grabs. However, Republicans are currently in the lead. That might change. But then again, it's extremely important to have 2 seats of power, the president and the Senate. Now, really quickly, let's talk about those policies from Trump and let's see what he shares about crypto and the economy. Here again from the Wall Street Journal, they talk about how Donald Trump won, which is by being Donald Trump. And I think that's why people like him so much, because he doesn't remind them of a seedy politician. That doesn't mean they don't think he's a seedy person. It doesn't mean that some people don't like his words, maybe his lack of integrity in a few business dealings or with people, right? He's an old school New Yorker that's almost 80 years old that really didn't have a lot of moral standards probably throughout his history. However, I do believe he is America first. And it is true. He ultimately shares whatever is on his mind, which doesn't make him a great politician, but it makes him the people's choice. That said, Trump promises to boost the U.S. economy by lowering taxes, prices, settle foreign conflicts, and to put a stop to illegal immigration. Those were some major points that he shared. And also another major one of those points is to make the USA the pro-innovation and crypto capital of the world. So what exactly does it mean for him to be pro-crypto? Well, in brief, we're not going to go into every single little detail in how they're going to do it, but we're just going to summarize it. Trump has pledged to support the crypto industry by establishing a national Bitcoin reserve. In other words, we're going to have a reserve of Bitcoin in the same way we have a reserve of oil, right? It's ultimately for wartime purposes. It's there as a hedge or a piece of security for a nation where we don't have security in our own fiat currency, in the case that other countries don't want to accept it. Other countries will want to accept Bitcoin, backing U.S. based mining or Bitcoin mining, opposing a US CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency, which is ultimately a means of surveillance for our government into our finances, and advocating for self-custody rights. In other words, having true property rights when it comes to our finances, which is ultimately the most libertarian ideal we can possibly have, for an individual to have individual rights and privacy surrounding their own property. That is beautiful, and that's what Trump pledges to do. At one point, he's even talked about, and I don't think he really knows too much about crypto, to be fair, but I also think he's pro-crypto. I think he's totally on board with it. I don't think he has any issues with it. I think he's done with the swamp that we've seen in DC and the bureaucracy at play and how they've really attacked the average American and hurt them through means of inflation and over-regulation and then sending jobs across, around the world. And really, we're just getting totally taken advantage of, which leads me to the next policy. And so in this article from Time, again, these are kind of hit pieces. When you read it, they're really biased. However, I'm going to talk about some of the major points. His plans include a universal tariff of 10 to 20% on all imports, which is totally fair. If you want to sell to the richest nation on planet Earth, right, you have to pay a bit of tax on it, which ultimately now our government can use to actually take less tax from our own citizens. I don't see anything wrong with that. And as high as 60% 50% on goods from China, China being our biggest competitor. Now, many economists fear that a universal tariff would invite further retaliation from trading partners. But at the end of the day, I will tell you, China needs us more than we need them. At the end of the day, China, if they did not get imports of food, their nation would starve. We can produce all of our food, we can produce all of our energy, we can produce all of our goods here in the United States, which is ultimately going to make us richer. And it's really not the lender that gets poor, it's the borrower. At the end of the day, we've been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing while the other nations have been lending, or in this case, been selling to the United States. I think it's time that we start to sell to other countries, even if it hurts for a little bit. Anything that is good and healthy hurts for a little while before it gets better, whether it's your body, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your finances. This is a brilliant plan. And I think, it's funny when we talk about economists. Who are these economists? 9 out of 10 economists get everything wrong. And the one that gets it right on average is literally just lucky, right? Very few economists are actually people that are doing or working inside of the markets, building real businesses. So I call total crap on that. Universal tariffs is going to cause retaliation. Sure, they can try to retaliate. Try to stop selling stuff to the United States. Go ahead and do it. You're going to go broke. At the end of the day, India don't got the money. China doesn't have the money. They have a lot of resources, right? They have a lot of manufacturing. Again, they would starve. They need to sell things to us. Every country wants to sell to the United States. How about we stop getting taken advantage of? Personally, that's my soapbox for the video, but that's the reality. The next one, an extension of Trump's 2017 tax cuts. With provisions for his signature tax cuts set to expire in 2025, Trump plans to bring back all of the tax cuts he signed in 2017 and further reduce taxes for individuals and corporations if reelected. Again, this is beautiful. If we're taking more money in from other countries, why do we need to consistently increase taxes? I think this tax the rich crap is totally bullshit. At the end of the day, we don't need to tax our own citizens. We need to find ways to be productive as a nation. Produce things, sell them to other nations, get richer, make our own citizens richer, and stop making them poor by taking more money from them and then not even using it wisely, right? We're still causing ridiculous amounts of inflation and harming the average individual and business. This is common sense policy, guys. If you disagree, this probably isn't the channel for you. Yes, I'm on a soapbox today, but it's ridiculous when you don't understand basic economics. Now, finally, right, and I'm going to talk about maybe 1 to 2 more points. You've got this housing crisis that is totally unaffordable because we brought in tens of millions of illegal immigrants, and it has been tens of millions now over the last 4 years, to compete with Americans for scarce homes. And a lot of these homes and hotels are being subsidized by guess who? The taxpayer. So yes, you got to deport illegal immigrants. Now, that said, I'm half Mexican. All of my family is down in Mexico. I know I'm a very white guy, but I love my Mexican family. At the end of the day, you can't start your relationship with a new country by doing something totally illegal. It's not fair to the people that try to do things legally. I have family in Mexico that have done things legally, and guess what? We welcome them with open arms. We should create a pathway for people who want to do things legally and actually be involved in the United States in a very beneficial way, where they want to pay taxes, where they want to be law-abiding citizens, so on and so forth. But the majority of these illegal immigrants have been working-aged men, and yes, there are criminals amongst them. It doesn't mean they're all criminals. Let's not take this out of context. It just means you can't let everyone in, anyone in. You ultimately have to provide for your own nation and people before you provide for everyone else. It's just common sense. I'm not going to go out and take care of the houseless person out in Portland, Oregon before I take care of my own child in my home. Okay, so I believe this is totally the right thing to do, and it's very wise. And finally, Trump vows to cut energy costs in half. When he was president, I don't know if anyone remembers this, I have not paid under $3 per gallon. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so it costs a bit more here. Maybe you have paid less than that, but I have not paid under $3 per gallon in the last 4 years. I remember when Trump left office, it was about $1.98 in Portland, Oregon. Now it's about $3.89 is what I paid today. Okay, at the end of the day, we have plenty of oil and resources. We're not going to burn the earth into the ground by doing this. And other countries are already doing this, excuse me. So, in other words, he's saying he would quickly expand oil and gas drilling and reduce government barriers to power plant construction. He has said that he could lower gas prices to below $2 a gallon. And again, I believe that. It's simply supply and demand. The more that you have, right, if the demand remains the same, the less the price cost. Or I should say, even if demand goes up, if you increase the supply, right, it's not going to stay at $3. It's going to go back down to $2. And ultimately, you have these cabals of oil companies and oil industry titans and countries that basically talk and say, where do we want to set the price of oil? Okay. And we're not going to drill as many barrels this month because we want to make more profits. That's really how things work when it comes to energy and oil. And they don't think about the environment and all of the things that they're doing to harm the earth and the atmosphere. What they're thinking about is the bottom line and their profit. So I think this is totally good, right? If other countries are going to do it, we have to be first. We have to be the first, the best, the winners, and ultimately Trump is a winner. So I think this is a very good plan when it comes to reducing the costs for the average American, reducing the cost for food and groceries, and ultimately making America richer. Now, here's the reality. You don't have to agree with everything I just shared there, and I'm sure if you're still watching this, you probably do, because I might have pissed a few people off. But at the end of the day, markets really agree with the economic policies of Donald Trump. When you even look at the crypto bubbles chart, virtually every single crypto in the entire market is up today, and they're really all following the lead of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, being up 8.6-ish% and reaching a new all-time high. Now, it's not just the fact that Bitcoin reached a new all-time high up to $75,000 right here. It's the fact that a lot of volume followed. So typically when you get a breakout to new all-time highs, we'll go ahead and put a line right here. You can see this was the previous all-time high back in March. We touched it yet again on October 29th of this year before settling off into the election. Then when you get a move into the actual day of the election on some positive news like Donald Trump winning the election, which is very positive for markets and participants, especially for crypto, right? Because now you're going to have a pro-crypto Congress. You're going to have a pro-crypto Senate lead for the banking committee. You're going to have, no longer you're going to have Gary Gensler, so on and so forth. Yes, crypto is really going to feel it. And you can see volume is consistently increasing here. So it's increasing into a breakout of a new high. I would argue we're going to rally. And it's not even a question in my mind if we're going to hit like $85,000, potentially even $100,000 on Bitcoin by the end of the year. And when Bitcoin performs well, virtually everything else in the market does and actually outperforms Bitcoin. So what's going to happen for XRP? Well, on the news today, when Bitcoin pumped up to $75,000, XRP pumped from 51 cents up to 54 cents. Now, the reality is that's not really too exciting for XRP or XRP holders, considering we've been in a very long, strong range for quite some time. There has been overhead in terms of sellers. However, what I will say is all you got to do is take a line, right? And it's actually this simple sometimes. And you can see here that this is now our official resistance. However, we have a W or a double bottom. So this reverse or upside down McDonald's, what you like to call a W, is a very strong pattern. And this is typically an indicator that once you break above this second little move right here, you're going to get a breakout for a 100% move. So although we did sell off at 54 cents, we're currently sitting at 53 cents. It's highly likely we're going to break out above this downtrend line and then trend up to the 57 to 58 cent range. When we get into this range and Bitcoin starts to move to new all-time highs, it's going to provide a lot of breathing room for XRP to pump right up to that 64 cent range. Okay, and so I don't typically like to train on a bunch of indicators because at the end of the day, you could have an indicator that tells you one thing and a different indicator that tells you another, and there are a million different indicators, and ultimately they don't really help you to make a decision. What I like to look at is price action, volume, horizontal supports and resistances. Truly, this can make you a king in markets. Now, we've touched this horizontal resistance once, twice, 3 times, 4 times ish, 5, and if we touch it a 6th time, we're going to break out. If we break out above there, and I've said this over and over and over again, we're really waiting to break above that 74-cent range, because that would be our multi-year resistance with, when XRP was considered not a security, with a bit of a bull trap. So we did see a lot of sell pressure there consistently, people taking profits, but if we break out above there, we are in some smooth waters for some new potential all-time highs, and that's really what XRP holders are waiting for. But I would argue this price action is very solid for buying, especially when you're just touching the top of this range and you're starting to get an increase in volume. As you can see here from the lows on October 27th, volume is slightly increasing into the move on very positive price action and even a double bottom. So if you enjoyed the video and learned something new, be sure to go to bullrunners.com. You get about 4 days left to hit that early bird list to get access to exclusive altcoin picks, market analysis, and even our crypto education platform with bonuses. If you don't make it within that time frame, you likely won't get the bonuses. So that said, be sure to go to bullrunners.com. And also, if you're a business owner, and you have been for quite some time now, and you've processed payments with Visa or MasterCard between 2004 and 2019, you could actually be owed a refund of 1 to 1.5% of your total revenue from that period. In other words, they lost a lawsuit because they were practicing or in anti-competitive and violated antitrust laws. Essentially, these companies were so big, they colluded to charge everyone, all merchants and all businesses, far more money than they should have, and that resulted in the biggest class action lawsuit of all time, which they finally settled not too long ago for a total of $5.5 billion. Now, the reality is, if you're a business owner, typically you just get a check in the mail and then find out later, but with this class action lawsuit, you actually have to file a claim, which is kind of annoying, and a lot of people don't know about it because they've kept the media hush-hush on it. Again, they have a lot of power. Visa and MasterCard can take advantage of that. But you'd want to file your claim soon because the deadline is February 4th. So if you wanted to collect what's rightfully yours and you were in business between 2004 to 2019, or you know somebody that was in business between 2004 to 2019, then you'll want to come and drop down onto the link below. We're going to have it right below this video or in the pinned post down below this video, the pinned comment, I should say. Make sure it's the pinned comment from the Bull Runners and it's not some random account. And then what you're going to do is fill out your information right here. It takes just about a minute to do. It's very straightforward, very simple, and then they'll get back to you. Now, this is a white glove service. What that means is they work on a contingency basis and you don't pay anything unless they recover compensation for you. Now, what I love about them is that they're really good at finding ways to get more compensation for you. These are experts and lawyers, and ultimately you would need one to file this claim. So make sure that you go to the link down below, and here's how much we've actually helped business owners get back. So this is the most recent amount of data that we have, but as of right now, we've helped people that have processed about $176 million of credit card transactions between 2004 to 2019, and they've gotten back a total of $3.1 million amongst them. And the reality is it will be a little bit different for everyone. I think it's dependent on the business and just the structure and how things were charged, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, people are getting quite a bit of money back. And I have a bunch of images here where we've actually made sure that we're not sharing private information from businesses and business owners and their names. But in one example, we have about $1.1 million of gross volume. They got $21,000 of money back that they didn't even know that they had. Another person, $18,000 back for $1.1 million. Another one, this is our largest, I believe, $64 million and they're getting a total of $1.1 million back. In this case, $200,000 for a total of $2,000 back. Again, this is free money. So if you want to use this to invest into crypto, so be it. If you want to use it to invest into your business, so be it. Whatever you want to use that money for, it's yours, because these companies took advantage of you during those years. $3 million. They're getting $64,300 back, and the list goes on. And we just continue sharing and sharing and sharing. Yes, these are real business owners who processed real volume, and ultimately they're getting money back from this lawsuit. So again, it's very straightforward, very easy to do. All you need to do is click on the link below, fill out your information if you were in the business between 2004 to 2019. And if you don't, or let's say you weren't in business during those years, you can still refer people through the link to create an affiliate account and get 3% of whatever they're getting back. So I think it's truly brilliant. It's an easy way for everyone to claim what's rightfully theirs out of this $5.5 billion Visa MasterCard class action lawsuit and settlement. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, like the video. It helps us out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.